The tilt is real. The tilt is real. This is when the tilt is real. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of The Tilt is Real Fantasy Podcast. Coming to you live from the chef's table, here are your hosts, James Crease and Juan Pena. Let's go.
Good morning. It is Sunday, October 11th, and this is the Tilt is Real Fantasy Football Podcast, the Sunday Tilt edition. And we are live here on StreamYard for your viewing pleasure. We are going live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I am your host, James Crease. My partners in this business, Mr. FF John Swanson and FF One of a Kind, as always, here to help us. How you doing, gentlemen?
Great.
Doing fantastic, Chef. It's Football Sunday.
It's Sunday, baby. Let's get it. Let's go.
What a morning.
Yeah,
I wonder what
Shefty
feels like, man. Like my phone goes crazy. I can't imagine being Adam Schefter.
He's two phones. He's Adam two phones. He's got two
Adam
phones at all times. Yeah, man.
What a
I
morning.
want to drop the news drop real fast for this big one, man.
You can.
Yeah.
Let's.
It's the Weekly Reel, presented by The Tilt is Real. It's the Weekly Reel. Let me hear that news.
Oh, let me hear that news.
Yeah, that
like
news
that.
is real this morning, man. Denver and New England game is postponed till next week. If any of you out there have those players in your lineups, please take them out. There are no substitutes. Those points do not count towards this week. Write that down and post it. Spread the word to your fellow league mates. This is serious. We are getting into a serious time in this league where it is getting questionable whether or not these games get played. And another one on the docket, the Titans and the Bills had another positive test this morning. This is some serious stuff. Juan, what are some of the implications that you might have to pivot from if you had those guys from New England or Denver on your roster?
Well, the first thing is to discern that there are two different situations. One of them is officially now a bye week. So the first game, the New England and Denver game, is not going to be played. It's going to be considered a bye, so those guys are out. So that's easy to make the adjustment and go into somebody else. And it's because before the game starts today that it's a bye. It's not going to be a game that's canceled. The one that's still on the verge of that is the second game, which is the Tennessee Titans and the Bills game. The Bills may not fly down to Tennessee tomorrow. We have to monitor that to see whether or not they're going to be able to play on Tuesday or whether or not that game gets pushed back. And that's the one where you need to have the alternative substitutes put into your league so that you can make the adjustment in case that game does get canceled. And it becomes an unexpected bye as opposed to the first game, which is an expected bye now.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Oh, already we got a comment in the chat.
My man, Zach.
My man, Zach. What's up, dude?
Good morning, Zach.
I love
Welcome.
it,
Thank
man.
you
Good
for
morning.
joining us. As always, one of our heartfelt fans out there. Any word on tests from Kansas City? I haven't heard anything yet. I think they
They just
good.
came out all negative. The rest of the NFL is fine, except with the exception of the trainer or the assistant coach from the Tennessee Titans this morning and the other positive tests in New England. That's the only things that have come through right now, and everybody else is cleared. They just sent out the alert. So as of right now, everybody's a go.
That's good. That's a
For
good
today.
That's a good sign. Thank God.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. After I saw that picture last week of Gilmore
Hugging Patrick
real
Mahomes.
close to Pat Mahomes. I'm like, oh, here it goes.
Yeah,
It was
that
the
was
hoodie up to no
he's
good.
superhuman.
scary
So,
thing.
Yeah.
That's definitely scary. Just like Zach did, commented in the chat. All of you that are watching, listening, feel free to jump on the chat, leave a comment, and we'll help you out. If you have a Sunday tilt, and this is why we are here. We are here to answer your questions. Player A, player B. We grind
Players
around the clock
C, D, and
all
E.
week long to help you guys. Yeah, that's pretty much
Today's
it.
a full alphabet day, Mr. Swanson. You're absolutely right. It isn't A, B, C, or D. You got to go to the G's and the H's and all that. You got to keep it moving.
We get
I'm on
deep
player
in that
Z in
alphabet,
one of my
guys.
leagues, man. I'm playing.
Chef and I were talking about Khalif Raymond. He's got to be down there like a QRSTUV, bro. Like, I mean, we're digging.
Tier 7.
Yeah.
Player R for Raymond.
Player R. Zach, what you got, man?
He's
Zach's
tilting hard this week.
What you got, cuz?
Yeah, drop it in the chat.
Everyone's
we are too,
tilting
man.
hard. Yeah, man.
I traded for Michael Thomas.
Hold on, Michael Thomas. Hold on, Michael Thomas. You'll be all right. You'll be okay.
He probably did it thinking he might play this week, and now he's hit with the injury bug watch or the COVID bug watch. See, I'm not sure.
On him. Here's the thing. I think you trading for Michael Thomas is a great move right now. I think what you do though is you hold him until the bye week's over. I don't think they should play him. I really don't think so. I think Peyton should hold him back, man.
If they can survive one more week, if they can beat the Chargers this week and not have to use him and not have to risk him being hurt, then he's good for the stretch run. I think you hold him off. The same way the Devontae Adams got held out last week for one more game because they felt like they could handle business. So
I mean, the great thing about what the Saints and the Packers both have is they have pass catching running backs who can make things happen. Alvin Kamara and Devontae Adams have been, I'm sorry,
Aaron Jones,
Aaron Jones have been crucial in filling those spots for those two receivers. So I think the smart thing to do would be to hold out Thomas. Like who else do you have, Zach? Let us know who you have instead of starting Thomas.
Yeah, if you can pivot, if you have a viable pivot or a guy that's going to have a good game today or somebody else that you can put in his stead, I would do it. I would trust the rookie Justin Jefferson, and I believe he has a really good lineup, Zach, from the last couple of weeks that he sent us his tilts.
For sure.
And keep an eye, just a little piece, keep an eye out on the news for Julio Jones. If Julio Jones isn't playing, Olamide Zaccheaus might be available on your wire. So just keep an eye on. He has a really good matchup this week, going up against Carolina. Just for the cornerback matchups, like if Julio was going to play, Julio would be a definite start. But I think Zaccheaus, if Michael Thomas doesn't play and you don't have another fill-in option, he is somebody that you could probably go out and grab last minute and put on your roster and play him.
And he'll get you 5 or 6 targets minimum.
Absolutely.
Minimum. Like a decent floor.
You got a brand new one coming in here. Controversial. What's up, Controversial? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much for tuning in. Pick 3 to start PPR. David Johnson, Raheem Mostert, Jet McKinnon, Cam Akers, Josh Kelly. Okay.
I'm definitely playing David Johnson this week.
100%. That's
if
a great
Raheem
game.
Mostert is the starter, I'm playing Raheem Mostert. And then I would take Josh Kelly because I know he's going to get the touches. I don't know what Cam Akers is going to do with his first game back.
Yeah, I might hold off on. I might fade Cam Akers for his first week back. But
you don't know what McVay's doing, right? Week to week. So fade Akers.
Yeah, I want to see it. Eventually, it's going to be Akers' job, but we don't know how much he's going to be involved this week. So yeah, I would play Kelly over him just for this week.
I agree.
Yeah, Kelly should get all the work. I mean, Justin Jackson may threaten that a little bit, and if Kelly needs to keep control of the ball and not fumble, but if he stays on the field and doesn't fumble, and then he should be the lead back in that game on Monday night. And David Johnson was definitely a smash.
Yeah, David Johnson.
I'm so happy to see David Johnson do well.
Yeah, he's a big part of the offense, and I think today against Jacksonville he'll have a pretty good game.
I like it. I love it.
And all right, so going back to Zach real quick. Zach says he's got Justin Jefferson and Robbie Anderson in his 1 and 2, Hilton and Hooper in the flex. You have anybody else you can put in for Hilton?
He's going up against Denzel Ward today.
Yikes.
That's tough. I don't think they're going to throw the ball a lot in Cleveland today.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But you have to play him, not Hooper. So I mean, it's tough. The temptation to play Michael Thomas, I understand where he's coming from. But I think Jefferson and Robbie Anderson give you great games. And Chef, the first game that we're going to break down today is going to be the Carolina game, and we'll be able to talk a little bit about Robbie Anderson and give him a little insight to why he's good enough maybe to carry your team and go ahead and ride out with Hilton and not go with the injury risk of Michael Thomas on Monday night. But Zach, again, always with a great tilt, right? Like every week, Zach comes in here with a great tilt.
My man.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you so we're going Panthers Falcons right now. Want to jump right in?
Yeah, let's go into the Panthers and Falcons. Oh, we got one more question in the chat that just popped up.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
I'll pop it up there, and
What's
then
up,
we'll
Josh?
go into
Thank you for tuning in.
Pick 2, standard, OBJ, Will Fuller, DJ Chark, or Justin Jefferson. Standard. Wow, I haven't played a standard in a while.
I love that, but first world problems, man. Those are 4 great players. You know what I mean? OBJ's got a tough matchup, and he went off last week. I mean, I love Fuller, and I have him in a lot of my dailies, and I expect him to have a boom type of game. And we were going to get to a little bit to that later, but I expect him to have a boom game. And then it's tough between Chark and Jefferson. In that same game, Chark can have a great game, and Jefferson 100 yards 2 weeks in a row is kind of hard to deny, especially going up against Seattle, who's given up 1,600 plus yards in 4 games, like legendarily bad defense. That's a really good place to be. Like, look, good for you, because a lot of us are out here struggling, and we have all these missing players. And Mr. Twinner right there is doing really well with those 4 receivers.
Yeah, my pick is Fuller and Jefferson.
My man,
for the matchups.
I think so too.
Yeah, I like Chark as well, but Chark's targets are they could be shorted out a little bit. I believe he gets Nicole Roby Coleman this week, and it could be a harder matchup than we expect.
Yeah, they also mentioned they want to use Robinson out of the backfield more and get him more usage late in the game. So you may see those goal line, those red zone targets that usually go to Chark get diminished with a dump off or a dink and dunk, which lately Minshew feels like he's a captain dump off. So yeah, I like that. Fuller and Jefferson.
Yeah, Fuller and Jefferson I like. I mean, you're in a good position with all 4 of them, but yeah, I'd say Fuller and Jefferson. Thanks, Josh.
Yes, sir.
We got another. We're just gonna keep going down here.
I think we stick with the questions, man. That's what we're here for. We can touch the games and filibuster a little bit, but yeah, let's answer these guys' questions. They're tilting, and the tilt is definitely real, and we're here to answer them. So yeah, put the next one up. Let's roll.
Here we go. JB-11 week 711 603 Fort Credit SS.
We're gonna call him JB.
What's up, JB? Thank you for tuning in. Who should I start at my flex if Julio Jones isn't playing today? Josh Kelly, Mark Ingram, or T. Higgins?
It's a tough spot, but I'm going to have to lean T. Higgins. I think right off the rip, Chef, like just off the top of the head. Joshua Kelly again with the fumble, and maybe Justin Jackson takes a lot of his carries away. Ingram, I can only trust to be red zone reliable. It feels like they each get 9 carries every week, all those running backs. Yeah. So, I might take my chances on T. Higgins finding the end zone, and I love the rapport with him and Burrow, and I'm going to ride the hot hand and see that Higgins gets in the end zone today.
Yeah, I like T. Higgins a lot. I agree with you with the Ingram. There's too many mouths to feed in that backfield right now. It's hard to figure out who's going to be the guy. And I like Higgins over Kelly too.
It's in your flex, so this is like a bonus position that you're in, kind of. And Kelly's the floor play. So if the rest of your team feels like it needs a floor guy, maybe I go Kelly. Exactly. But I think there's a little upside with Higgins in that game.
Yeah, there's definitely some upside with Higgins in that game, and it all depends on how many points you're trying to cover. If, like you said, Juan, with the floor, if it's a floor thing and you have strong wide receiver, I mean, if you're playing Julio Jones in your flex, you probably have a strong wide receiver core already. So I would make sure I get the floor points. I mean, if you're going up against a stud in your league who is 4-0 and you're reaching and you're behind a little bit in projections, then yeah, go for the ceiling game and T. Higgins. I agree. It's either or, and it depends. Yeah, it's definitely situational.
Thanks, JB. Let me jump back to Zach real quick here. So he's got Fitz 2, but it's a 2 flex league.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, no, I remember. It's either Hooper, Hilton, or Fitz.
Yeah, Hooper, Hilton. There.
I mean, maybe
I would play Hilton. I would play Hilton.
Yeah,
over
I would
Fitz and the other one. Yeah, and Hooper. Yeah,
but he said he's got 2 flexes, so he's not sure. But I would rather play Michael Thomas than Hooper.
Absolutely.
If that's the question, I would rather take my chances with the injury and then be ready to pivot. Maybe you have a roster spot and you can somehow find a Traquan Smith down there at the bottom of your lineup, and you can try to put him in. But if he's available, which he shouldn't be at this point, but if he's available, maybe you can snatch him up and have him ready to go in case Thomas doesn't play. And there's a couple
Sure.
guys on the Chargers that you can pick up. Chef's boy Guyton is available out there. There might be some home run like that where if you take a chance and take Hooper out of your lineup, start Michael Thomas, you can pivot to one of those guys from the Chargers and maybe hit a home run, and he still give you more points than Hooper, who has been completely underwhelming so far this year.
Or if A.J. Brown doesn't play, Khalif Raymond's available, and we talked about that earlier. He could have a sneaky, really good game.
And your boy Gabriel Davis.
Yeah, and Gabriel Davis as well. I just scooped up Gabriel Davis in a couple leagues on the waiver wire. So yeah, keep an eye out on those guys. Next question. Yeah, next question. Here we go. Controversial coming back at it.
Coming back in here.
Start Mike Thomas, Will Fuller, Emmanuel Sanders, John Brown, T.Y. Hilton. Is it PPR? I don't know.
Either way,
we'll assume that it is PPR. Okay.
Will Fuller's the only smash play out of these, right? We all agree that.
Yeah, Will Fuller for sure.
He has to be one of the two. So then you're choosing between the rest, and the
John Brown has a question mark around him. He may not play. He's dealing with a calf injury. And it's a note. I know I noted it somewhere. I got to pull it up. Hang on. He had a knee injury, and then it turned into a calf injury later on in the week. So that's something that you want to watch on, and that the injury designation changed late. So yeah, I wouldn't put my money on John Brown playing this week. If you could pick up Gabriel Davis, great. If you can't pick two, I guess it would be Michael Thomas and Will Fuller.
Yeah, because you always have Emmanuel Sanders to pivot to. If they announce before an hour and a half before the game that Mike Thomas isn't going, then you can start Emmanuel Sanders or go to the Gabriel Davis pivot on Tuesday or something along those lines. But I'm staying away from T.Y. Hilton today, especially like in dailies and all that. And if I can have a better option, like Fuller and Thomas are the obvious two. But if Thomas doesn't go, easy pivot right to Emmanuel Sanders.
Right on.
And then jumping right down here, Ertz or Schultz?
Yikes. Schultz.
Yeah, you know what, Chef? Yeah, right. Especially if Jabril Peppers isn't playing and Schultz is going to have the run over the middle and be open. I mean, against the Giants in what we expect to be a little bit of a scoring game, Schultz.
Yeah, it's going to be a scoring game.
Have not allowed a touchdown to a tight end.
The Giants' running defense is surprisingly pretty good. They're ranked 13th in the league. They are holding down the run game decently. So with that being said, Schultz, CeeDee Lamb, they should be open in the middle of the field. Amari Cooper has a great he gets Bradbury this week. He's going to be having some fun times on the field today. I have him a couple DFS leagues. But yeah, I think Schultz over Ertz. Ertz, he's going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, and it's going to be a rough one.
Heavy dose of Terrell Edmonds and Minkah Fitzpatrick and Devin Bush. Like those guys are shadow safeties and linebackers that are going to be able to take Ertz away to some degree. And plus the Eagles line is so banged up that Mr. Swan is blocking a lot. Yeah, Ertz is going to have to stay in a pass pro a lot. It's going to be, he might get some dump offs in that, but Schultz has the better upside for this week.
Yeah, definitely Schultz for that one. Sarah Riley. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, Sarah. Good morning.
Morning.
Half PPR flex. Robert Woods. Justin Jefferson, Antonio Gibson, or Raheem Mostert.
Jefferson and Gibson jump off the page at me.
Yeah, both of them do. Half point PPR. Considering it's a half point PPR, I would downgrade Gibson a little bit for the simple fact that he's not going to get that much work in the run game against the Miami defense because they are kind of stout. I mean, I know James Robinson tore him up, but man, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Half point PPR, Robert Woods, Jefferson, Gibson.
You know what?
Listen, I like Jefferson for sure. I love that matchup.
Jefferson's jumping off
anybody who's going up against the Seattle defense, I want to start their receivers. I know Cousins doesn't throw the ball a lot. He only averages 260 yards a game, but against the Seattle Seahawks, teams are averaging 50 more passing yards than they are normally. So if Cousins gets to about 300, there's no reason why Jefferson doesn't hit for 100 yards, and he's prone to find the end zone. We've already seen him making plays. So I love him. Woods, I don't like the fact that the Rams are having to travel across the country for the third time this season, and that makes it rough, and he's been having a tough go. But you know what? I don't know.
You're right. I think you're right, Juan. I think it's Jefferson, man.
Against that Seattle defense.
Yeah, because when he is catching the ball in a half-point PPR, it's not all about how many times they receive it. It's about the yardage. And Justin Jefferson, with the yardage being over 100 yards the last 2 games, and he's got that great matchup against the Seattle Seahawks, you got to I would play Jefferson.
Yeah, and Gibson's going up against Aaron Donald, and then Mostert may not play the whole game. They might bring in McKinnon so they can slowly bring him back into the fold in a game where they should be up against Miami. I think it's Jefferson.
Yep.
I think it's Jefferson. I know it's a rookie, and you kind of don't want to do that, but, man, he's playing lights out right now.
High ceiling right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's
especially
for sure.
in that game.
Mm-hmm. For a flex play, yeah, I'd go Jefferson. Mm-hmm. Moving right along. Yeah, great tilt. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Zach Argue has Justin Jackson if Thomas doesn't play.
He's good to go. Then he's covered. I mean,
yeah,
if you're going to need some points, you're better off there than Hooper, man, for sure.
I agree. Going back to JB, if Julio Jones doesn't play.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. That's what the chef noted. Yeah, that absolutely. We think Olamide Zaccheaus is going to definitely be able to get 5, 6, 7, 8 targets, something along those lines, maybe more, depending on the game script. But I think for sure he gets whoever fills in for Julio is a good play.
Yeah, he's got the matchup this week.
I'm still crushed from that goose egg from my boy Calvin.
Hey man, that's what happens when you play the chef, bro. Calvin Ridley is actually a good play this week. Olamide Zaccheaus definitely has a great matchup against Dante Jackson for the Carolina Panthers, and we see that the fact that the Atlanta can't run the ball too much down the in between the trenches. We know Todd Gurley's on the outside runner, catching passes, etc. But yeah, I think Zaccheaus has a sneaky game here, just like he did last week.
It seemed like Ryan really trusted him, man. He just kept going back to him.
It was what was open. It was what was open. It was the fact that like he had the other guy beat compared to what they were doing. They were isolating Calvin Ridley last week, and that's what happens when you take those stars out. And Jair Alexander just covered him.
He showed up.
Yeah, he showed up.
Great game. Yeah, he only had 5 targets, Ridley, but he had no catches. So he was banged up too in that game.
Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. What we got next?
Young Vision. What's up, Young Vision? Thank you for tuning in. Oh, boy. AJ Green or Crowder. I also have Bell starting as a running back. Therefore, I'll have 2 starting Jets players. I'm sorry, man. If I start Crowder, my bench is hurt. Have to play one of those receivers. Crowder. 100%. I go Crowder. I mean, look, he's the guy. Like, as much as I've had to start Crowder a couple times, and I think so far he's been a surprising fantasy start. I mean, I know it's the Jets, and it seems kind of like, gross on paper, but man, if you're the number one guy, you're probably going to get a lot of volume at the very least. If he doesn't have a crazy home run or anything like that, I think for fantasy purposes, Crowder definitely start over AJ Green. I just can't. I don't know what to do with AJ Green anymore. Like you can't.
Chef,
you can't get rid of him. Get rid of him.
So, Chef, before you even say get rid of him, I know you're probably going to go Crowder. He's been a top 20 wide receiver in the 2 games that he played. Like Mr. Swanson said, in week 1, he had that big broken play, which kind of compiles your stats. But however you get the numbers, you get the numbers. I just fear that AJ Green is going to get either Peters or Humphrey, and that's a really tough matchup. And we've seen Burrow favoring Tyler Boyd, and we've seen him throwing it to Higgins in the red zone. He even likes Drew Sample, the tight end. Mixon's getting more work out of the backfield. I think Green is starting to fade into that forgotten man kind of category. And if he's shadowed by either one of those corners, I can't trust him. I know it's scary to play 2 Jets, but you got to play Crowder since he's been top 20 the 2 times that he has played. And Bell, you better hope for volume, man. And that's it. Maybe he gets some passes too, but it's tough. I mean, with Flacco, you got to imagine that it's going to be dump down city, that it is going to be Le'Veon Bell catches 6 to 8 passes, even if he's not in the game a lot. And Crowder's going to be the go-to guy, at least on 3rd and long and 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 6 and all that, which is probably what they're going to be facing throughout the game.
Yep, I agree.
It's going to feel yucky, man. It's going to feel yucky, but you don't really have a choice. Yeah,
no, you really don't have a choice with Byron Murphy covering the field, man. It's going to be really tough, but Crowder is the play. Crowder is definitely the play.
That's the one. Thank you, Young Vision, for the question. Jumping back to Zach real quick. Zacchaeus over Hilton. That
Whoa.
If Julio's out,
man.
I smash yes, Chef. I'm afraid of Denzel Ward. He's doing pretty good, man. Like I know they had a rough game last week against the Cowboys, but you know.
Yeah,
keep
and
an
since
eye
we
on
have these
Julio's
questions
status,
coming
'cause-
in, Juan, if you have show notes from some of these games, and I know you're spitting them off already, and I'm going back through my notes, and I'm like, whoa, okay, let's go then. Yeah, I'm not trusting Hilton against the Browns defense. It's just too much. I do in fact think it's a sneaky Mo Alley Cox game this
If
week.
you're gonna hurt him, you can hurt him there, or you can hurt him on the other side, Chef. Like you might get a Pascal touchdown, or you might, you know what I mean, something along those lines, because Greedy Williams is out again. And you know, if you're gonna go at the Cleveland defense, you're gonna go like the opposite side of Denzel Ward. And unfortunately, Ty should be matched up on him a lot throughout the day. And I can't trust Phillip Rivers to not be back there in duress. They don't have their starting left tackle Costanzo, so Myles Garrett is going to be in the backfield. He did it to Tyron Smith last week, even though he's out now, but he did it to Tyron Smith. He can do it to anybody on any week, and especially a backup left tackle trying to come in and fill in for Costanzo. Phillip Rivers is going to be under duress.
Yeah, so and when he's under duress, what does he do?
Dump
down passes. I think it could be a sneaky game for Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor in the passing game, whoever is back there catching passes. Okay, so the questions have slowed a little bit. Let's move into it. Panthers versus Falcons. Atlanta is a 2-point favorite, over under of 53.5. Injuries: Calvin Ridley with a thigh and knee was limited Thursday. Julio Jones testing that hamstring this morning. He is a game time decision. And that's pretty much it. Those two guys you have to worry about. Those two guys are the main ones. It's definitely going to be a high scoring game, as we discussed earlier at the top of the show. Juan, you got anything for these guys? We already really talked about Zacchaeus a lot.
Yeah,
he's a definitely sneaky start.
Well, because the name above him is so big that's the reason why you end up talking about a guy like this low ranked or this unknown. It's because Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley have been lighting the world on fire. Russell Gage had enough games where he's rostered and you don't have many pivots. And this week where you need them, you need a guy like Zacchaeus. But I'm looking on both sides of the ball. I just find this to be a fascinating matchup. I think it's going to be a game where you're going to get to see a lot of who these two teams really are, because I don't feel like the Falcons are really an 0-4 team, and I'm not sure that Carolina is a 3-1 team. Like I don't know that that's how it should be going. I feel like the Falcons are the better team, and they're favored in this game at home. It's like a get right game, hopefully, for Calvin Ridley. And I feel like you see a little more DJ Moore than we've seen so far this year. I know Robbie Anderson's had 17 points in 3 of the last four games. I know that Mike Davis gets a lot of involvement, but I feel like DJ Moore is the forgotten man kind of, and I feel like he gets some work in this game.
Agreed. I like DJ Moore this week, man. And anybody against that Falcons defense, like they're gonna kill it, man. Atlanta's 23rd against the pass. Like their defense is just terrible, really. And start your receivers against them this week for sure.
Yeah, and everybody's a start on those teams. It's pretty obvious at this point. You're starting Todd Gurley, you're starting Mike Davis, you're starting Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, and if Julio goes, you start him, and if not, you pivot. Gage is probably a flex. So this is one of those games where the only question is, like, let's say the quarterbacks right now, the way they're playing, Teddy B's only thrown 6 touchdowns on the year. Like he's not having a phenomenal season, but he's been okay for you. Like he threw for 340 yards against Tampa a couple weeks ago. Last week he showed a little bit of life. Do you trust Teddy B in a situation like this? Is he one of the guys that you would trust?
Yeah, absolutely. Teddy B is streamer of the week, man. He is the QB streamer of the week. I'm actually trying to make some moves for him in a couple of leagues that I'm not in with you guys. Just because I have my quarterback situation is a little banged up. I don't trust Matt Ryan this week up against Carolina, especially if Julio Jones isn't playing. I know the receivers will get work, but that's not something I want to bank on. I'd rather have the other side of it. I'd rather have Teddy Bridgewater than Matt Ryan this week.
Well, that's bold. But I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
I had a prediction. Well, it's a bold prediction, so bear with me here. But I was considering starting Bridgewater over Lamar Jackson this week because of the matchup, because of the injury implications to Lamar Jackson and how it may limit his fantasy production, which largely a lot of it does come on the ground,
especially against Cincinnati.
especially against Cincinnati. So yeah, so I don't know. Something I was thinking about. My hot take for this week is Teddy Bridgewater finishes with more fantasy points than.
Ooh, that's hot. Ooh, that's hot.
Real hot. You need that drop. Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's
yeah. You need
take.
the hot take drop for that one, man. Because
I'm gonna put it up there,
you're
man.
fine. Lamar Jackson practiced in full on Saturday. No issues with the knee. I think it was really precautionary. He got banged up at the end of that run that he pulled off last week. I think he's fine, man. I think you'll be fine if you play Lamar Jackson. I don't think you should pivot to Teddy Bridgewater for Lamar Jackson. I would definitely, if you have Lamar Jackson, you're playing him this week. Unless he's out, you're playing him.
Would you start?
You never know when he can pull out.
Would you start Hollywood Brown over Robert Woods?
Is it in a league that we play against each other?
Yep.
Yeah. So next question. You're not getting me this week, bud.
Oh man, I felt so bad about that.
Start Hollywood, Mr. Peasy. Because listen, if anything's going to happen if anything's going to happen here, it's going to be they'll protect Lamar Jackson and limit the amount of scheduled runs, and they'll try to keep him in the pocket and let him use his arm and throw the ball, and they'll try to pound the rock and run the ball heavy and not force him into too much trouble. But he will have shots to take down the field, and Hollywood's been just a hair off. Like they're almost getting it right, and this could be the week
he hasn't scored yet. I know.
Could be the week that he doesn't miss him. He doesn't overthrow him, and he's not thinking about running, and he's actually just stepping in the pocket and letting the ball go, and he hits him, and Hollywood one touch, and he changes the game.
I hope so. That's for a team actually that I drafted. It's not actually my team, but I drafted the team for this person, and I'm keeping a close eye on how they're doing. They're 4-0 right now, so I just want to keep that going.
Nice.
Keep it going and watch it. The LA and Washington football team game, they are expected to be playing in the rain. So throwing the ball might keep it close to the vest a little bit and run a little bit more.
Okay.
Especially having all three running backs now. They can do that. They can interchange. Mm-hmm. So that may limit production for Robert Woods.
Very true. What's up, Frank? Good morning.
Man, Frank Duffy.
My man Frank. What's up, Frank? How you doing, bud?
Good morning.
Ooh. All right, so who do you like in that game, Chef?
Who do I like in that game? Which game? The
Carolina
Washington game?
No, the first one. The Carolina.
I like Carolina to win. I like Carolina to win.
0-5 for the Falcons, huh?
Yeah, it's a surprise 0-5. I'm taking, and I would definitely take the Panthers with the points this week. I really do. I don't think they can keep up. I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, I'm taking the Panthers with the points, and I think it's going to be under 53.5.
Yikes.
And if I had any more money left in my DraftKings account, I would put it on there. I may have already made a small bet.
I just don't see Matt Ryan going 0-5. I feel like he's just
don't live in the past. Don't live in the past. Recency bias. Like don't let that persuade you. Watch what's going on in the field, man. Like he's not doing that well. Panthers beat Arizona last week, man. They held it down.
Yeah, Arizona had to fly cross country, young team. They made mistakes. Kyler turned it over. Mr. Swanson, I have to agree with you. I can't see it again, like 0-5, and them, at home they have to win a game, and they've been a onside kick away from winning a game. They were in the game last week against the Packers, and yes, Mr. Duffy, the tilt is most certainly real this week. The realist it has been. And I can't do it, Chef. So and that score 27-24, something like that, keeps it under. So maybe it is an under kind of game, and they try to play it a little closer to the vest. But I feel like Matt Ryan finally finds a way. It's a young defense in Carolina. They're improving. I love Jeremy Chin. I love Brown on the defensive line, and Burns has been all over the field, pursuing and doing great. I like where they're going, but I still think they're young enough that Ryan will find the holes in the coverage to make just enough plays to steal a game, especially at home.
Yep, I agree with you. We shall see.
Be a good one. Should be a good one.
It is going to be a good game, though.
Mojica, what's up, dude?
My man, Mojica.
Bing, 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 bing. Good morning.
God bless you too, my sir.
My man.
Sorry about your Giants, my man. I apologize.
Hey.
Oh, sorry, Chef. You're sitting right there.
We'll be all right.
Sorry,
we'll be all right.
Sorry.
We will be okay. We may sneak out a win today. Very sneaky.
Hey, I like that. We'll get to that one in a minute.
Gotta stay positive, man. We got the blue on, baby. Okay, next game. Raiders versus the Chiefs. This one is hot fire. Kansas City Chiefs are favored by 12 points. The over-under is 55. Raiders injuries. Ruggs was a full participant on Saturday, and Bryan Edwards limited. I don't think he plays. Waller, with the knee limited, I think he's fine. I think he will play.
Yeah.
There is a note on for this game. Brashad Breeland coming back from suspension, the cornerback from Kansas City, and this just adds fuel to their fire, man, because their defense has been really, really good.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Spagnuolo, and it took them a year. Your old G-man, right?
Sometimes it takes.
And since I'm glad Mojica's here, and I'm glad an Eagles fan is here, and another Giants fan, right? Listen, that front four figured it out at one point with the Giants, and they went on those Super Bowl runs, and they won with a lot less than what Kansas City's offering on the offensive side.
Yeah, that's true.
So they finally figured, even without Chris Jones last week, they were able to dominate up front. And I just feel like they've got it clicking, and it makes the secondary play that much more aggressive and be able to play tighter coverages, and they can do whatever they want with the Honey Badger. So, like, I love that defense and where it's going right now, and getting Breeland Shep is a huge boost. And that's why the 12-point, line, it's you expect it to be double digits. It has been before, so why not?
Yeah, no, I get it. Oh, Frank
sweating.
Justin Jackson versus Nyheim Hines, 0 RB is not for the faint of heart.
Especially this year.
Oh man, you should have listened to our August episodes, man.
Yeah, man.
We went running back heavy was the way to go this year.
All day.
0 RB is not for the faint of heart. Justin Jackson versus Nyheim Hines. I would take Nyheim Hines.
Yeah, I would take Hines.
Mm-hmm. Everything that we said earlier as far as the passing game and him being involved and Phillip Rivers being under duress and having to dump off the ball, I think Nyheim Hines is a smash play over Justin Jackson, who we don't know if he's going to take over for Josh Kelly or split or how that goes. And New Orleans has a pretty good run D too. So I would go with Nyheim Hines.
Yeah, there's a lot more clarity with the Hines play right there for sure. Do it.
Going back to the Kansas City and the Raiders game, or say the Chiefs and the Raiders game. With that being said, and the defense being as strong as they are, how much faith do you have in Josh Jacobs this week? He's projected to be a top 5 running back with 16 points on the ground. But man, do you temper expectations against that strong Kansas City defense?
I mean, you're starting him. So
right. I
don't think it's going to be a blowout game. I don't think it's going to be a huge game for Josh Jacobs. I think he'll give you your, 15 points, maybe 10, 15 points. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, but you got to start him.
You're 100% starting him. And Chef, there is the plus side that he has been seeing involvement in the passing game, especially with all the weapons that are out right now. You're going to be looking for Carr to do the same thing and use him in that passing game. And 4 or 5 catches gets you enough of a floor that he always runs the ball for 50, 60, 70 yards. Like even if he has a bad game, it's a 60, 70 yard kind of game. And they like to use him down near the red zone if they get down there, which Kansas City likes to bend and not break. And they'll bend and allow you to kick a field goal so they can go score their touchdown. So at one point, he's going to rack up enough yards to be, I don't expect him to be an RB1 and I don't have him in any dailies, but I do expect him to give you enough of a floor where, like Mr. Swanson said, you have to play him. Like there's no scenario where you bench him, but you do temper expectations.
What you said. I would stay as far as tempering expectations go, I would stay away from Josh Jacobs in dailies for sure.
Right.
If you draft him on your fantasy team, you got to start him, but I'd stay maybe pivot somewhere else for your daily matchups. Jonathan Taylor's probably cheaper.
All right.
Right? Yeah, he might. They're about the same. There should be
Jonathan Taylor is definitely cheaper. I think
Sauce Monday. What's up, Sauce? Yo, that's the best avatar right there.
That is dope.
Look at my man Pete. Sauce Money says I lost Eckler and Barkley. Yikes. I was lucky to get Robinson. Okay.
Same.
And Mike Davis off waivers early. Yeah, he did too. What moves do I make when McCaffrey comes back? I also have Akers. All right. Well, you were lucky to get Robinson. That's awesome.
And Davis to cover up until McCaffrey comes back.
Yeah, so you're I think when he comes back, when McCaffrey comes back, you sell high on
No.
You could not you know what? Never mind. I don't know if
he's
so
perfect. He's in a perfect position.
I think what you do is you hang on because this year's crazy and you have enough depth at running back right now where once everybody comes back, I think you hang back.
Well, when McCaffrey comes back, Mike Davis will be irrelevant. We know that that's the plan, that McCaffrey will be the workhorse in that scenario. And
sure, but
if you have the chance to get rid of Mike Davis a week before and perhaps pick up a wide receiver for it, like if someone needs a running back and Eckler comes back in time or Cam Akers picks up the slack, you still have James Robinson there. and Cam Akers, if you can tote the load with those two guys and sell Mike Davis a week before McCaffrey comes back, you could definitely boost your roster somewhere else because you had those running backs.
Do you think you can sell Mike Davis a week before people know McCaffrey's coming back, or do you hang on to Mike Davis just in case McCaffrey gets hurt again?
Some people are desperate right about now, man, and they just want somebody to put in their lineup, and they need that one position, and they have an extra receiver they might unload. So the chef is onto a good theory. I'm always the optimist, so I see that I have Robinson and McCaffrey, or Robinson and the Panthers backfield, so I have 2 starting running backs every week. Eckler will be back before long, and Chef mentioned at the top of the show that Akers eventually will be the lead back with the Rams. Just we don't know when, but at some point you can have 4 starting running backs and be really loaded going down the stretch run. So it would depend on my record, how desperate I was to, make a move. And the unthinkable is to trade McCaffrey and get a load, and get a haul for him. But that depends on your league and the situation.
Yeah, I would try to sell him. Probably around after week 8. And because if McCaffrey comes back anywhere between there, like you don't really want to play Mike Davis up against the Chiefs in week 9 and then Tampa in week 10. Those are tough matchups. And
McCaffrey should be back by then.
Yeah, McCaffrey should be coming back by then. So after, I would try to sell Mike Davis. I definitely would. Especially if you have if Cam Akers shows up today and you see him starting to get more of the carries going forward, absolutely try to sell Mike Davis before McCaffrey gets back on the field.
Thank you for the question, Sauce.
Yeah, that's good.
Sauce.
I like that. And yeah, man, Sauce Money, I feel your pain, bro. I have Barkley in a couple of leagues paired up with Eckler. And it was rough, but hey, we make pivots. That's what it is. Draft. Your league isn't won in the draft.
Word. So over to the Kansas City side on that. As far as that Raiders Kansas City game, where obviously Edwards-Helaire, like I have him as the number 1 running back for the week. I think he's got the best matchup, and he's gonna put lights out numbers. He's 76 yards a game. He's averaging, and in a game like this, he's second in the league in broken tackles. I think he's gonna have a monster game against a team that tackles poorly, doesn't cover the running back well. I think this is a Kansas City show-off game. I think they finally put that game together. You saw Mahomes last year, 278 yards and 4 touchdowns in the second quarter against the Raiders. Yeah, in 1 quarter. So I expect more of the same for today.
Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
I just got this on my phone. My COVID test is negative.
Hey, we like that. We like that.
Surviving another week.
Love it. Week to week. That's how we all are right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the whole NFL is right now, week to week.
That's how the whole world is right now.
Yeah, day to day. And at least we get to take this break for the day, though, and then just enjoy football. That's what I love about this. And I know I come off as that optimist guy, but yeah, I mean,
I'm with it.
Right? Sunday just feels like the best day of the week.
Just one more point on this Raiders game, and then we'll take your guys' picks for that. Henry Ruggs coming back. What do you do with Hunter Renfrow? Are you actually
You don't start him.
Yeah,
if you have to, you don't start.
I'm dropping him in some leagues. I picked him up where I own Ruggs.
Yeah, he was a fill-in for when Ruggs and Edwards were hurt, and then you saw how much production was given to Darren Waller. Renfrow was just kind of like an in case. I can't use curse words. Drop Renfrow.
No. Drop Renfrow.
He's a roster clog at this point. Chiefs win this game.
I don't know, man. Some of my rosters need Renfrow. Some of my rosters, I'm that hurt at wide receiver in leagues where I have Godwin and I had Sutton to start the year, and I've had Galladay, or I've had people like that where my roster's just depleted, and then now A.J. Brown may not play and Julian Edelman may not play, and there's enough out there where Renfrow might be at the bottom of your roster. But yeah, in this week, I don't see the Raiders producing enough that Renfrow has a big game, but that come from behind garbage time nonsense is real. And I expect this game to go in a way where they're up a couple touchdowns. If the line is 12 and Vegas knows what they're doing, you can see a scenario where it's 37-24 and they're trying to come back at the end and it's just dump off to Renfrow. I mean, maybe.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. Obviously, if you
dump off to Waller.
But Waller's knee is banged up, and you've seen him slow down a little bit. I'm a little worried about Waller.
If you're in your situation where you're like hemorrhaging at wide receiver, then yeah, obviously you gotta keep him on there. But for the if he is feeling like a roster clog, then he probably is. If you're in that situation. Next, Or Chiefs win this game. I don't know what you guys.
Yeah, it's unanimous.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right, we
Unanimous.
touched on this game a little bit. Arizona Cardinals versus the New York Jets. Arizona 7-point favorite. The over-under is 47 points. Key injuries in this game. Brashard Perriman almost had a chance to come back. He does have an ankle injury, and he is out today. Chris Hogan, ribs, knees are questionable. Sam Darnold was the big news on this game with his shoulder being out. Man, this game.
This is
I
an
mean,
ugly game.
you're starting your Cardinals. I particularly like Drake and Edmonds this week. Drake as an RB2, Edmonds as a flex. We see them getting a lot more work to chase Edmonds week by week. Definitely could do some work. Oh, and I'm sorry, the Lev Bell news. Lev Bell might be playing today. I'm waiting for this injury report to come out.
Yeah, we'll find out in about 30 minutes, Chef, the last minute, if Bell's going to go. But I like your take on the two running backs because it feels like Edmonds has 4 targets every week. So at least he's going to get some involvement in the passing game, and they like him around the goal line. Like Drake seems to get them down to the goal line, and then Edmonds comes in around the goal line. And we've all been waiting for the Kenyon Drake get right game. And if you don't get right against the Jets, man, it's just not getting right. Like this is it right here. Like if you're a Drake owner, like you're making the decision after this week whether or not he's downgraded to like a flex. He's really not the guy you drafted in the 2nd and 3rd round with all the hype around that offense. And I believe in the offense going forward, but for whatever reason right now, it's just not clicking, and they need to get it to click. And they need to do it against the Jets.
Real quick, when I jump over to agreed. Real quick, when I jump over to Zach, just to nail this home: Ruggs, Hilton, Thomas, Hooper, Zacchaeus. It's a 2-flex league. I say Zacchaeus and Ruggs because I still don't know about Michael Thomas.
Yeah, if you don't have a backup plan for Thomas not playing tomorrow night, it's tough.
Yeah, if that's what the question is, yeah. Like if he doesn't have a backup plan, then yeah, I would go Ruggs and Zacchaeus. I'm staying away from Hilton. I'm staying away from Hooper.
Miles from YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, cuz. Juju or risk Michael Thomas? Juju against the Eagles.
Juju, smash play.
Juju.
I like Juju this week. He's the one that gets Nicole
Colts defense for Pittsburgh defense.
Wow. Listen, Carson Wentz turned the ball over, 7 times already this year in 4 games? I mean, 7 interceptions at least. So, that's an ugly number against that defense. Yeah. I think for this week, if you have to drop one, it's unfortunate to drop the number 1 defense in the league. But again, that number 1 defense is going up against subpar offenses. You're talking about beating the Jags. You're talking about the Jets. Like that doesn't impress me as much as Pittsburgh's defense. And going forward, Pittsburgh's defense is amazing, dude. They got 4 guys that have put 10 pressures on a quarterback, and they've only played 3 games. Their whole front 4 all have double-digit pressures. So they're in the backfield against a depleted offensive line from the Eagles. It's just scary, scary combination of what could happen, a perfect storm of what could happen to the Eagles this week. I'm scared for the Eagles a little bit.
I am too.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little bit closer of a game than we expect from the Eagles.
I just don't see how they move the ball, Chef. I really don't. I mean, maybe they'll surprise me and Miles Sanders will break out and have some sort of a game and gash him a couple times. But man,
we're gonna have to get creative, man. We've been so predictable, and obviously that because of all the injuries, I mean, it's kind of hard to not be predictable when you can't do anything because you don't have the guys to do it.
You have like one starting offensive lineman left.
Yeah, like I know we're gonna fight. I know it, but it's just I can't. I'm not getting my hopes up.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up. But I'm saying I still think Pittsburgh wins the game. But I think for just naming sake that I'm trying to get to the game. Didn't the Texans do something against Pittsburgh?
They ended up scoring 21 points, but nobody on the team did anything of significance, and they were in the backfield all day long. Like that, it's undeniable with that kind of pressure. 10 pressures from each of the front 4 guys. So that's Tuitt, that's Hayward, and that's Bud Dupree and TJ Watt, all of them with double-digit pressures. It's only a matter of time before they get to Wentz, who's already turnover prone as it is. You might or might not have Lane Johnson this week. I don't know what his details are. We'll find out in 25 minutes whether or not he's going to play. But
yeah, I'm still waiting on that.
You're down all those offensive linemen. You lost Brooks in the beginning of the year. Like you're playing with a patched up unit, and you saw Wentz was able to run last week and avoid the pressure and get out and run and use his legs to keep them in that game against San Francisco and ultimately win the game. But I don't know if he can do that against the Steelers defense.
Lane
Johnson was not
He's gonna
listed
play.
on any of the injury reports.
Yeah, he's
this
going to
week.
play.
He's going to play. I know he went out last week against San Francisco, and I wasn't sure.
Deshaun Jackson is out during that game.
He can't. Yeah.
You said Deshaun
Jackson is out in that game.
That's tough, man.
So it's Greg
Zach,
Ward and I believe JJ Arcega-Whiteside are the receivers this week.
So from the question from Miles was drop the Colts defense for the Pittsburgh defense, and I'll stick to it, and I'll say that go with the Pittsburgh defense. Darius Leonard isn't going to play for the Colts. That's another thing to watch. They're playing a more explosive offense, in the Browns this week. So for this week, if you have to make that move, it's a great pivot to be able to make to go to the Pittsburgh defense. You're stealing. It's great.
Just to wrap up, Zach over here too said he could do Justin Jefferson.
No, it was Jackson.
He meant Jackson. At 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of those 6 that are up there, I think I think you can eliminate Hooper.
Yep.
I think
and fade Ty.
Yeah. Wait, what Ty?
Fade.
Yeah, fade Ty. So I would go. I would stick with Zacchaeus and Ruggs in that situation. And that's if Michael Thomas news doesn't improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if Calvin Ridley plays, then you could slip Justin Jackson in there if you have to. But only as a last resort.
I agree Calvin Ridley will be on the field.
Yeah, whether or not he'll be effective, yeah. So we don't like this game. To wrap up the Arizona Jets game, we don't really like this game. I think low scoring, and Cardinals win and cover.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting your Cardinals, everybody except for my man Dan Arnold. I love Dan Arnold.
And you're not starting Kirk. My man Christian Kirk. You don't trust him anymore. You're not starting him.
No, I have him as a low-end flex play this week, actually, just in case.
Against the Jets, he might be good as a DFS play for sure.
We saw Tim Patrick last week come alive.
What's wrong?
And Judy had a shot. I mean, if Kyler does throw the ball a little bit and the Jets do give him a little bit of a fight, it could be a little bit more evenly balanced than assumed. But I'm not jumping off the page here about it.
I benched Kirk in all of my leagues, man, because I just can't anymore. And he hasn't.
Oh yeah, you're going through the pain.
Yet. Right. So I can't do it to myself because now this week, like you said, you expect him to do it. He should be a flex play, should be a wide receiver
low
2,
end,
3, whatever.
low end flex.
Even low end. That means double-digit points, and he might not do it. They may not really need him. I'm not touching it. I'm leaving him alone. I already went out that way.
If you have a better option, who's your option? Who is your option otherwise?
Laviska Shenault.
Oh yeah, you play Shenault over him. Yeah, no. Yeah, don't get your don't get all worked up.
Yeah, because he's one of my guys.
I understand.
He was one of my guys.
He's like, damn it, Chef. You talk bad about him all damn season, and you were right. And now you're telling me he's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Watch.
Temper down. Now he's going to go off. He's going to have like 4 receptions for 120 yards against the Jets.
Now that's making my head hurt just for the plight of Juan's, just for the Christian Kirk.
I know. Right now I'm thinking
let me look real fast, Juan. I want to just look up on his matchup, and we can.
Do we all agree that Cardinals?
I mean, he gets Pierre Desir, and Desir was the one that got torched last week. They were picking on him hardcore.
He's the one, Judy Moss too.
Yeah.
That game against them.
So Christian Kirk does have a good matchup, and maybe that's why I have him listed as a low end flex play this week. But it all depends on how much they're really going to throw the ball, and I don't know.
Like
I guess they throw it.
The game.
Yeah, and they throw it more than they run it in Arizona, and that's what's affecting Kenyon Drake a lot. But yeah, I mean, if you have a better option, I think Laviska this week against Houston is a better option. He's going to get the targets
all day. I like it.
All right, let's move on to this next one here. I really don't think there's much to talk about. Eagles
versus Steelers. Yeah,
we should be Battle of the Keystone State. This is one of the highlight games. I know you don't want to talk about it, Mr. Swanson. I know, but this is one of the big highlight games of the week. Like this is a legendary matchup, especially in our area. Everybody's an Eagles fan. There's a lot of Steelers fans. It's a big game. It's a big game.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Sanders is going home. Like he's playing against his home in front of his home people for the first time.
There's some glimmer of hope for me for Miles Sanders this week because I know what it's like to go home and play in your hometown, and there is something like a magical, intangible feeling that you can't really put your finger on. Where sometimes people do well in those situations, especially in sports. And I think Miles Sanders is the bright spot on the Eagles' offense this week. The line doesn't give Carson Wentz enough time to do anything. He's scrambling all over the place. He's just I can't. I'm just so sick of talking about it. All week long, I've been talking about it.
I think Greg Ward is a guy that we have to mention here.
You have to. I mean,
nobody else in the receiving department. Pittsburgh.
But that's why we're talking about it, because there is nobody else.
27th, yeah. They're 27th against the pass. So I think Greg Ward could be a viable flex play here. I'm staying away from. I mean, you can't bench Miles Sanders, and you can only have hope that he will do good. But Pittsburgh's stern against the running backs, only allowing 11.9 fantasy points per game. That's tough, man. But on the other side of the ball,
bring the whole house, man, all day long. They're just going to bring the house.
I think Deontay Johnson is a very nice play this week.
On the other side,
I think Juju finally starts giving you a little bit more. They're going to pick on this Eagles secondary a little bit. And I think Eric Ebron, man, he could fall in the end zone and really get something done, because he has supplanted what's his face for Pittsburgh. I can't even remember. Vance McDonald. He's an afterthought. Eric Ebron is the guy there. Eagles 30th against the tight end, giving up 14.6 per game. Yeah, so I think those guys are smash plays this week.
Yeah, I'm firing up the entire offense from the Steelers without hesitation. I know the Eagles' run defense is stout, and maybe you wanted to fade James Conner, but you'd be hard pressed to have a better option. Lucky you if you do. But I'd start James Conner with confidence, because they're going to throw the ball to him a little bit too, and he's been getting work that way.
Our defensive line is the only thing that's going to keep us in this game. That's the only thing that's going to keep the Eagles in this game.
You can hope for some turnovers, and you can hope for your defensive line to keep the pressure on Big Ben. But otherwise,
anything else to talk about in this game?
No, we can. The Steelers win. I think you keep it close, though. Next. I think I would take the Eagles and the spread.
I think the defense keeps us in this game. And moving along, Miles, what's up, cuz? Drop Devonta Freeman for Pittsburgh defense. Or no fan.
Oh, can you put Noah Fant on IR? Since he was out for this week, maybe they have him as listed as out, and then you can just rent a player for this week. Because I actually like Devonta Freeman this week, and I've had a couple lineups where I had to put him in.
Devonta Freeman,
and that game has been postponed, so he's on a bye now.
He's on a bye, but if he's
down as a bye, yeah.
Oh, so it's not designated out. He's not on a bye, yeah.
Yeah, he might not. I mean, if you can get him before the designation changes, I think you hold on to Devonta Freeman, man. Running backs are slim to none right now, and unless you really need a defense for this week, I mean, if you don't have a defense, obviously you pick up a defense, but you might have somebody else you can drop on your roster.
I'm pretty sure he has the Colts. He has the Colts, right? Yeah. So I understand why the Pittsburgh defense would be a great play this week, and it's tempting because.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was tied to the other question before.
Yeah,
So I'd say just going forward, I think it's probably better because the running backs are so scarce, and because things just keep happening. I feel like I wouldn't drop Devonta Freeman for a defense, even if it is Pittsburgh for this week.
Yeah, keep the Colts if that's the problem.
Yeah, hang on to the Colts because you're in decent. You don't want to roster two defenses. You're in a decent shape with the Colts and with Freeman. I wouldn't go too crazy picking up Pittsburgh defense. I know it's tempting, but
yeah, I wouldn't.
I don't know what you guys
if you were in a plus position,
Colts, then I wouldn't. Yeah, don't lose another player to go after a different defense. Yeah. No, it's not worth it.
Good question, though.
There'll be other defenses that show up down the road.
Yeah.
Those are the questions that come up, man. That's why the tilt is real.
Eric Brewer, what's going on, man? Thank you for tuning in. AJ Green always kills the Ravens, or do I go with TY and PPR? Yikes. This is a good one.
TY.
And Miles has depth at RB, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't trust that he's fully healthy. I saw him holding that clavicle last game or that shoulder. Something's going on with AJ Green, and he just looks like every game he's getting manhandled. He's not getting separation. When a good corner's on him, he's struggling. And those are two really good corners in Baltimore. And he may have had success in the past, but that's game scripts where you're coming from behind and there's a lot of garbage. Now there's a Tyler Boyd in the slot. There's other mouths that get fed. I think I go TY, even though he's got a really tough matchup too against Denzel Ward, but I think I might go TY.
I think I have to lean TY too.
I would
hope he gets 6 catches or so.
I would definitely go TY. AJ Green has been supplanted by T. Higgins on the depth chart.
Nice word. That's a $5 word.
Yeah, so I don't like what I saw from AJ Green. He was making excuses saying, "Oh, it was tough. I had to question my injury and if I was going to get hurt again." Well, guess what, man? It doesn't matter if you can't catch the ball. Okay.
You can't get open.
At least Ty will have a couple targets compared to what AJ Green is going up against with the Ravens defense. I don't. Yeah, no. Take a move Ty across the field.
It's been a while since he's been torched them too because he didn't really play last year. So you're talking about a couple years ago. A couple years ago, AJ Green, against the Ravens from a couple years ago before Marcus Peters, sure. But now with Peters and Humphrey there, nah, I'm fading him.
He's got Debo too.
Oh, you play Debo.
You play Debo, cuz.
Yeah, you play Debo against the Dolphins.
TY and AJ Green. Yeah. Yes.
He's probably back more in game shape, and it doesn't take too many touches for Debo to rack up some points. And they love to use him around the goal line and then jet sweeps and all that stuff. Him and Ayuk look like a dynamic new wide receiver pairing. I definitely go Debo.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed. I definitely go Debo.
So back to Miles real quick. Miles says he has depth at RB, man. He really wants those. He really wants to pick up Pittsburgh defense.
Go for it then, man.
Yeah, man. If you got depth at RB, if you're cool.
It doesn't sound like you're tilting. It sounds like you've made up your mind. Let's go for it, man. Dude. Smash it.
Yeah, we always say that. You always come to us and you ask us about a tilt. Most of the time, you already have your answer and you know what you want to do and you just want it affirmed or you want somebody to show you a real strong contradiction as to why not.
Yeah, true.
But if you're steady there at RB and you really want that Steelers D, go get it. I think it's going to be a huge week for them personally. So
should he drop Devonta Freeman or Noah Fant to pick up Pittsburgh defense?
If he's deep at RB, then he can afford to drop Freeman.
Try to put Noah Fant in your IR spot and just go out and pick him up. Yeah.
Or try to make a trade. People are desperate right now. They need a running back. Find a team in your league that needs a running back and trade Devonta Freeman for another asset somewhere else. Maybe a backup tight end to plug that Noah Fant injury hole.
True. Cool.
Hey, Juan.
So moving on. Yes, sir.
Juan, can you take on this next game real fast? I have to step out real fast. I have something to handle.
Handle your business. I have to step out too. Wait, hold on. Give me 3 seconds before you step out.
Okay.
Hold on.
So it's okay. Y'all can leave me in here by myself. It's just I'll just ramble on.
No. I'll stay in. All right. So the next matchup is the LA Rams versus the Washington football team. Yep. The line Pittsburgh. Oh, I'm sorry. I got the wrong number. You got the line on that one, bud?
Yeah, the Rams by 7.
Over under is
46.5.
Right, you're in.
46.5. Nice. I don't know why I have the wrong information there. I'm looking at a different page. My fault.
This is one of the tougher games, Chef. Like this one and the Baltimore game, whenever we get to them, because you have to try to figure out the McVay brain and what's going to happen. And there's no trend, no matter how hard you look, as to who's going to be the lead back, who's getting the most carries, who's the one involved in the passing game. It really is the hot hand. And now this week you have all 3 running backs going. I have Darrell Henderson. You have a lot of shares of Akers. I also have Brown. Like, I don't know where to go. And this is one of the biggest tilts for me every week because running back is so scarce that you need to have them. And if you're lucky enough to have one of these guys, most likely you have their handcuff or the other one, and you really don't know which way to go. Do you trust any of the 3 running backs?
No,
right?
You hold. You pivot. You pivot if you can. If you can't, then you the one I would say gets the start is Henderson. But I think Akers gets some work as well, man. It's definitely a big RBBC, and unfortunately, Washington 12th against the run. They are pretty stout, man. They shut down. We really didn't see Baltimore doing well against them. We didn't see any real team do well against them.
Drake,
so that's the way it's got to be. Main player that I'm targeting this week is Tyler Higbee, man, against the Washington defense. They're 29th against the tight ends, giving up 13.5 fantasy points. That's who I'm playing. I'm playing Jared Goff because he's the quarterback and you need a quarterback to play. But yeah, I think the Washington football team actually kind of keeps it closer than we expect.
Their defense will keep it close.
I like that you mentioned the tight end, Chef, because Ertz and Goddard in week 1 and then Mark Andrews last week had pretty good games. So that's why the Higbee thing. Higbee scares me because 4, 5, 2, and 4 are his target totals. Like, he's not getting that many targets, despite the success he had in that first game where he had a couple touchdowns. Like, I'm tempering my expectations on Higbee, and this is another guy who's like on that same Christian Kirk, Kenyon Drake game where, like, let me see something. I need to see more than 5 targets, or 4 targets to the tight end, to Higbee, for me to continue to have faith from where you drafted him, because you reached up a little bit to get Higbee over other guys like Jonnu and Hayden Hurst and people like that you took later. You reached up a little bit to get Higbee, and you paid for him. So I need to see something this week from Higbee.
Yeah, last week it was pretty disappointing. I mean, and you're right. And the past 2 weeks, actually, he only put up 5 points last week against the Giants, 8 points up against Buffalo. It's been a while since he really crushed Philly.
The Giants don't. They're good at stopping the tight end.
The Giants, the Giants.
No tight ends have scored a touchdown on the Giants yet this season.
Yeah.
Yet.
But Washington, on the other side of things, I think they're a little weak, and you can expect Higbee to get back into it, since they are going to have to pass the ball against that Washington defensive front.
Yeah, there was an ugly game played down there in Washington last year, and that field turns into slop. If you guys remember, the San Francisco 49ers went into Washington last year, and they played in a mud bowl slop game.
Yeah,
and everything was grungy, and it was all running plays, and you couldn't throw the ball because of the rain. And once you did run the ball, it was people slipping everywhere and sliding everywhere. I feel like it's a heavy Rams run the ball kind of game, and it's uglier than they think. And that 46.5 over-under is looking like a good under to take for this week.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking coming up. Yeah, I'm looking at the under that, and honestly, I'm staying away from this game because sneakily I feel like I'm staying away from it in parlays or anything like that. I think Washington, their defense could. I don't know, man. I could see Washington coming away with the W here.
Yeah, that front four can get in there and pressure
green right now. It doesn't look like it's raining too much, but it's.
How do you feel about Gibson?
Playing him. I'm playing him.
I'm playing him and McLaurin and stop. Even though McLaurin's got a really tough matchup. Actually, you know what? You could consider Logan Thomas too.
Yeah.
He could be a deep dart throw if you have the wrong tight end lineup, and if you have questions around that as far as this week, and maybe Jonnu was your tight end or something. I mean,
Noah Fant.
Yeah, Noah Fant. There you go. Yeah. I might be tilting in that direction. So I might go with Logan Thomas as a streamer, but I don't really know what Kyle Allen's going to do. The rain's going to be a factor. I feel like it's an ugly, low-scoring game, and the Rams just try to get in there, win, and go back home. Again, third trip to the East Coast for them so far in this young season is a lot for a football team. So I feel like they try to just run the ball, control the clock, win a low-scoring game like they did against the Giants, and then go home.
Dawson Knox. So
we're taking the Rams.
Bill scored 3 times with the tight end in week 3 against the Rams.
Yeah, so Logan Thomas, again, down near the red zone. He could be a guy that falls in the end zone for you, and he doesn't have a great game, but he does like Hawkinson did last week, where he just one touchdown, and that's all you need.
Touchdown dependent. Definitely touchdown dependent.
This game, I don't know. I'm staying away from it.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams will win. It's just whether or not it's close or not. But 7 feels like a Vegas trap where it could be 21-13 and they lost by 8. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think the Redskins. Oh, damn it! I did it again. The Washington football team gives a little bit more of a fight, man, and especially with the quarterback change, Ron Rivera is going to make a point, and he's going to be like, "Well, listen, this is how I really want to run my system." Kyle Allen in the driver's seat. He knows the system better, obviously, than Dwayne Haskins, and I know he wanted Kyle Allen to be the quarterback with him of the future. He drafted him as such.
I'm going to take Washington. I'm going to take it.
Wow.
I'm going to take it.
Why not?
I know. I got some hot takes this week. I've got some hot takes.
Hey,
that's right. Wrong too much this year.
I like it, man. I like it. I would stand by that as well. It's a toss up, and I would take. What was the spread? What was the point spread? Juan? 7 points.
7.
Yeah, I would take Washington with the points
and the under.
And the under
because of the rain. Yeah, it's gonna be a close one, man. I think we're gonna see some smash mouth in that one.
Yeah.
Agreed. Right now. All right.
I do have to step out for 1 second, and
we're going to jump in this. because we're gonna get to Mr. Swanson's hot take right here, because the next game we're just going up the Beltway over to Bodymore, and we're gonna see your Lamar Jackson take where Teddy B outscores Lamar Jackson for the week, which is a really, really bold take, but I know where you're going with this. I feel like that 12-point spread and 50.5 over under is Baltimore's up, and at some point they pull Lamar in the third quarter. Is that what you're thinking? And then you get RG3 the rest of the way?
Yeah, I'm thinking you get RG3 the rest of the way. I think with the injury to the knee, like I said before, I don't think you're going to get the same production that you would normally expect from Lamar Jackson on the ground because of the injury. Oh, wow, James went bye-bye. And that's why I just think Bridgewater I think he's going to finish with more fantasy points just because of the matchup. I still think the Ravens win this game. I think they do it on I think it's a money game for fantasy purposes. I think I mean, you're starting Hollywood Brown. The backfield's confusing.
You're starting Mark Andrews.
You're starting Mark Andrews. The backfield gets a little murky. I don't really know who I mean, the way things are going right now, if you have Ingram and that's your only move, it still might be a decent move because you've seen him break away for like a 20, 30-yard touchdown. You see him at the goal line, but you also see Gus Edwards at the goal line. And J.K. Dobbins, I feel like
at the goal line too, and he gets the passing work.
Yeah. So
it's a three-headed monster, Mr. Swanson, but I feel like this is the week that maybe they each get 12 to 15 carries instead of 8 or 9 apiece, and they can each have a fantasy relevant type game depending on who falls into the end zone. But it's again, just like the Rams backfield, this is the murkiest one. Like you said, you probably have to start Mark Ingram depending on where you drafted him and the health concerns and all the buys and all the other things that are happening in the league. You want to start him. You want to start Mark Ingram. But I like Dobbins in the passing game too. So it depends which way you want to lean with those two guys. But you can't start Gus Edwards, so we're not doing anything there.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't see. You'd really have to be like completely wiped out to start Gus Edwards. But at the same time, it could be sneaky. As far as the Ravens go, I mean, you're starting those guys. You're starting Lamar. You're starting Andrews. Starting Hollywood. 100%. What about the other side of the ball?
I mean, Burrow's got the hot hand right now, and you might be in a situation where if he proves it this week, then you can say, all right, he's a must start every week. He's a top 12 quarterback. If he has a good game against if he has a good game against these Ravens, then he's legit. Like, it's time to put him okay, he's a top 15 quarterback the rest of the way, no problem. Like, start him. But it's a tough matchup against that defense, and we'll see how he handles it and how he does. I think the biggest factor is Joe Mixon and how they utilize him, and whether or not they can keep this game close. If they feed him the passing game like they did last week, they're going to thrive, and I think that they will have some chance to succeed. And Tyler Boyd is pretty much uncoverable right now in the slot. He's pretty unbelievable the way he's getting open.
Yeah, I'm starting Tyler Boyd over. What did I just do? Every week I just feel like I just keep him like Tyler Boyd. I'm like, what am I? At what point am I just going to put him in my lineup? I think this is the one league where I just have. My problem is that I have too much. I need to start. Yeah, so. Right now, I'm staring at Tyler Boyd or, oh no, this is that league. Oh boy, it's Tyler Boyd versus Hollywood. That's my tilt. Don't worry, I'm not playing either of you guys. Yeah, Tyler Boyd or Hollywood.
Yeah, the chef's double checking to make sure that you're not playing him.
I'm not playing him. I'm playing
looking at it right now. Wait a minute, is this for me against me? We're playing in a league too against each other. I got to the point where I'm not looking at my opponents anymore, and I'm
I usually don't
putting in my lineup. And whoever it is, I'll be pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised later. But I like the upside of Hollywood too much. I know the floor of Tyler Boyd is there, so it depends on your lineup again and how it's constructed. But I love Hollywood being able to stretch the field and get deep once or twice in this game. But man, Boyd's floor has been something you can't deny.
Boy, yeah. I would go with Hollywood this week.
Right,
I would go with Hollywood this week. I know the Ravens aren't playing very good defense as of late against the wide receivers, but they do cover well in the slot. I think T. Higgins might actually have a better chance of catching the ball. And then when they do throw to the slot, I think Drew Sample actually gets some work this week. We haven't mentioned his name in a little bit, and I think with the close matchup, they're going to.
You would think.
Well, Baltimore's 22nd against the tight end, giving up 9.1 fantasy points per game. So I think that's the more of the reason why. It's going to be close. It's going to be a close game. It really is going to be a close game.
Breaking news
right on this one.
Julio Jones inactive.
So there's this.
There you go.
There's the case. Zach, if you're still here.
Yeah.
Zucchini
there
boy.
it is.
There's going to be a lot more. We're at that hour right now. It's 11:30, so we're about an hour and a half before kickoff, and then they're going to give us the actives and inactives. They're going to start rolling through any second now. Henry Ruggs is active. So is their right tackle Trent Brown. So that helps the running game for the Raiders to be able to move the ball.
What the hell? Yo,
Dwayne Haskins expects to be traded.
Expected to be traded.
Ooh.
To
Let the
who?
speculation begin.
Gross.
To the Jets,
Oh, that poor guy.
you think?
No.
I don't know who I feel worse for, Haskins or the Jets. I don't know. I don't know, man. I just want to say this. You know who I really want to see take a snap this year?
Mostert is playing.
Oh, he is?
Mostert is playing. Yep.
Oh, here they come. I want to see Alex Smith. I want to see Alex Smith so badly play football again.
Yeah, I hear you.
I really do. I would have loved to see him start today over Kyle Allen.
I also have Lev Bell active.
There you go.
He's back. Henry
Yeah,
Ruggs playing.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know why you had to drop that breaking news, Mr. Swanson, because right now all I can think of is where is Haskins going? Like, that's all I have in my head right now. Like, I'm trying to figure out who's the trading partner, like who's the team that needs him or could use him. Are you going to put him behind a Matt Ryan and let him be the future? Like, what is happening with Haskins being traded? Like, I'm not sure. And then now Alex Smith becomes really something viable. Like, if they're willing to trade him, that means that Kyle Allen's going to be their starter and Alex Smith is the backup.
I just can't think. I can't imagine where he would be going. I'm trying to think now too.
It's going to take us down the rabbit hole because we love trading more than we love playing and setting lineups. Like, trading is my thing, and I love.
He would have to be going.
I like setting lineups better.
He would be going as a number 2 somewhere, sure, right?
He's
not
trading.
going. Haskins isn't going anywhere for a starting job. He's going for
to be a backup. But what situation is
like
going to be? Right.
I just got verification. Joe Mixon is starting. He had a questionable tag. He is active for the game. Okay, so with that being said, are we taking Baltimore or the Bengals for this matchup, guys?
Baltimore all day.
Baltimore all day.
And I think they cover too. I think they get it right. And
Baltimore. You think they cover too?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they cover. I feel like they get enough done on offense to be able to cover and hold them down.
I'm taking the Bengals on the points if I had to put a bet in, but yeah, Ravens win.
I like it.
All right.
It is big point spreads out there, man. It feels like they all feel like traps. They all feel like traps,
right?
Yeah,
even the Raiders should put up a battle against KC. Like, a lot of those games shouldn't be as wide open as they have them, but
I agree.
See. That's why they play the game.
I definitely agree.
We have one that's a little bit closer scoring, Chef, to move on to next, and it's a big fantasy implication game, and we love this one because all the matchups are juicy. But Jacksonville's going into Houston to play, and it's a 5.5-point advantage for the Houston Texans. They expect them to get right and win that game with a big 54.5-point over/under.
Yeah.
What do we like in
any
this game,
new
Chef?
Mr. Swanson? If you can look in, just check on Jordan Akins and see if he cleared concussion protocol this morning.
Gotcha.
Because he has a great matchup, but if not, Darren Fells is the play this week.
Sneaky
Jacksonville 27th against the tight end, allowing 11.8 points. Both linebackers for the Jags are chipped up, so that could be a little bit more slot work for Cobb. Yeah, so
David Johnson out of the backfield. Yeah,
David Johnson should be good, man. You know, Jacksonville's giving up points all over the place. Yeah, you're playing Watson, you're playing David Johnson, you're definitely playing Will Fuller. Should hit at least wide receiver 2 numbers this week.
Akins
and could boom. He could also have a big boom game. I have him a lot of my dailies. This could be the Will Fuller 200-yard game all over again. Like, he could actually have a monster game.
Definitely. And then on the other side of the ball, I mean, I don't trust Gardner Minshew going up against them right now. It's just what it is. I'm playing Chark. I'm playing James Robinson. And
I'm starting Laviska Shenault too, and
Laviska is a flex play. Yes.
Yeah, and if the game goes the way it should, which it should be a little bit of an open game and a little bit of a passing game, I have Tyler Eifert on the back burner because he has found the end zone a couple times, and I need to have him in case of emergency and the glass breaking thing. Like, I needed to have him in case Jonu's game gets canceled, and he's my alternate. So I was able to pick him up in a couple leagues because I think Houston's defense.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Jordan Akins still hasn't. There's still no news yet. I know he didn't practice Wednesday, but there's still nothing out quite yet.
He'll come out on the full actives or inactives. But yeah, I expect this to be more of an open game, and Tyler Effort's on the back burner for me. But Laviska is definitely a flex consideration for me with Randall Cobb. They're right there in that same tier, and that would be an interesting tilt between those two as to who I would go with. But I love Shark. I love James Robinson. And David Johnson is really cheap. I think 5,200 in DFS, so he's another nice option for the dailies.
For sure.
Who wins?
Right. Here's another one. Do the Texans go 0-4? I mean 0-5?
0-5? No, I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either.
I think they rally, and this was one of my defenses for Up Blitz Creek Without a Paddle that you could stream this week. I think they play inspired. They play for Romeo Crennel. J.J. Watt was arguing with Bill O'Brien. He's going to have to go out on the field now and show that he was right and prove it. I feel like it's a prove it game for Houston and a get right game. Big Deshaun Watson and a Fuller game. I think Houston wins the game.
I like that.
And they cover. And they cover because it's 5.5. So 27-21, they covered, Yep.
I'm on board with all that.
Agreed.
Afternoon games.
Yes, sir.
4:05 p.m. Oof. Dolphins travel to Santa Clara, California to take on the 49ers.
Another big spread.
Another big spread.
9-point favorites.
Yep, San Francisco's 9-point favorites. Over/under is at 52. Huh.
And then we got the news. We got the news on Mostert and Debo both playing today, so that's great.
Yep.
For the Niners.
Not for the Dolphins. Not for the Dolphins.
We just talked about this game, but defensive end Josh Allen from the Jaguars, very good second-year player. He's not going to play. We said Miles Jack was a little bit banged up, chipped up, right? Some of their linebacking core. So even more reason to like those Texans and fire them up this week. But yeah, my Dolphins were in trouble, man. Going to Santa Clara and going to play those 49ers is always tough. I know the Eagles went in there and won the game, and they were able to play a gritty type game and fight. And we've shown fight in every game. Like the Dolphins aren't just a pushover. So I feel like that 9 points is a little high. Again, with those big spreads, you always feel like the other team has a chance. And we've been playing better defense than people give us credit for. And a lot of their guys are coming back, but they're still not 100%. So we'll see how much that plays into things.
Lamar Jackson, Hollywood Brown, good to go. Sorry to interrupt.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
Breaking news, cuz.
All right, what do you got here? I mean, who are you starting on the Dolphins side? Are you starting Gesicki?
I'm staying away from all of them.
Are you? Yeah, I don't know.
The only one I would consider is Devontae Parker because they will have to throw the ball. I mean, maybe Isaiah Ford as a deep flex play or a sneaky DFS play.
Do you start
other than that? No, I would fade him.
And against the 49ers defense, I would try to avoid that too. But Chef, to your point, 10 out of 12 targets were caught by Devontae Parker last week against Seattle, who has Shaquille Griffin, very good corner. So I'm not afraid of him, and I'm not afraid of Isaiah Ford with the double-digit targets because this game's about opportunity. So if a guy's getting 10 targets a couple times in the season, you got to figure that they're going to throw the ball. They're going to be playing from behind. And no offense to the 49ers, they're great, but they are without a lot of their people. So you've seen them be in some closer games than they would have liked up until this point, including last week against a depleted Eagles team, and the Eagles were able to beat them. So I feel like you could start Devontae Parker freely, and Gesicki might have a tougher time because he's going to have that Tart, Quan Alexander, and Fred Warner triangle watching him, those linebackers and that safety. So Gesicki might have a harder time getting going, but I would look for Ford or Devontae Parker to make an impact, at least fantasy-wise, and keep the Dolphins involved and keep the Dolphins in the game.
And to add to that point, Emmanuel Mosley is out cornerback, and Dante Johnson out cornerback, and Akello Witherspoon is still questionable with that hamstring injury. He's going to have to play. I don't think they really have anybody else, and that's what leads me to believe, yes, it could be a trap when you turn around and say, well, the 49ers are sixth against the pass and they give up only 18.1 fantasy points again. Devontae Parker and Isaiah Ford outside on the perimeter, they're going to be able to play, and they're going to and Fitzpatrick will throw the ball. He is a gunslinger.
Right. So he's going to take his shots and he's going to take his chances. And against second or third string corners or banged up corners, like it's an opportunity for them to make an impact and to really, even if it's garbage time points at the end of the game, Devontae Parker's been making garbage time points for the last 5 seasons. Like, so yeah.
Well, only for the last one season.
2 seasons. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That used to be.
It feels like that long of a time.
It feels like he should.
Because he was there for 5 years, but he only did it last year.
But no, man. So I guess it's unanimous. 49ers win. We're gonna keep the ball rolling. Unless you guys think that the Dolphins are winning and I'm wrong. I don't think so. I think the 49ers win and cover at that.
Yeah. I don't think they cover, but I think they do win. I think we keep it close.
I think
Juan, I just want to ask your take on George Kittle. Miami's been stout against the tight end. Does it really matter? Is George Kittle just in a different
he's in a different atmosphere. He's
matchup proof.
He's not going to get the 15, 16 catches that he had last week. Like, he's not going to have that kind of a monster game because, like, I don't think Jerome Baker and those boys are going to allow it. I think we'll be able to do a better job of chipping him at the line because you got to stop him at the line. You can't just let him get those free releases he was getting last week against the Eagles because then it's not fair. And the yards after catch is the problem, but we swarm tackle. We're a pretty decent tackling team, and I think we'll be able to contain him, but he's still George Kittle. Like, I don't think he's worth the price in DFS, and I don't think he has the 15 catch, 180-yard game, but he's Kittle, man. Like, so
the guy, it takes 4 guys to tackle him.
Right,
but he's after the catch, he's
human, dude, and like we're gonna make it a point to try to take him away. And our corners are decent enough to be able to take on a banged up Debo and a rookie in Ayuk. I think we'll be able to play stout defense enough to keep that game close. And I don't think Kittle destroys us.
Word.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. I think it's close for sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that because I have Kittle in a couple leagues, and I was just tempering expectation, but I wanted to hear your take on it.
Yeah, because if you have another good, what happens with Kittle is if you have that option, Chef, sometimes you can have your backup tight end in the tight end and put him as a flex if he's going to have one of those monster games, and you can expect him to do that. Otherwise, you just leave him at tight end so he just wins his matchup clearly, and you get that advantage.
Yeah, my Kittle stock is pretty strong. I'm playing Kittle, and then I just switched out, and I took out who did I take out? I had to take out somebody because of the Denver game. I think I had Tim Patrick. And I'm putting in Drew Sample in my flex because of it.
There you go.
Tight end premium.
Yeah.
Big tight end premium.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Yeah, tight end premium. You have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Wine guy.
Right. So Vincent Sacco. What's up, bud?
What's up, cuz? Will
my
baby whale, bro.
Go ahead, JP. Say
Put
it.
him in the bedroom. Will my Cowboys actually win a game today? Besides the miracle in Atlanta so far, very disappointing season. Looking good, fellas. Thank you, Vince.
Hey.
They
I'll win this one because I'm the Giant fan.
There you go.
Yes, you guys win this game.
Yeah.
I think unfortunately, the Giants start the season 0-5. They do have a shot to keep it close. But I think you guys offensively just have a little bit too much for us to handle. It is a great matchup going up against Jason Garrett. You know he's going to want some revenge, but I think you guys pull it off today.
You want to just jump right to the matchup? We'll go back for Colts Browns. So it's so Giants on the road, AT&T Stadium. What the line is?
8.5.
8.5. Yeah,
Cowboys by 8.5, 54 point over. And you got to take the smash over on that one, right, Chef? I mean, with the way the Cowboys have been moving the ball and scoring, even if the Giants are in it, it's going to be one of those high scoring, like 34.
I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under, man. I think it's closer than we think.
Really?
Yeah.
You think it's feed Zeke week? Is that why you think it's going to be a ball control kind of game? Because otherwise, I think it should be his game this week, and I actually have it written down right on my notes. Should be his game. They're going to try to stay away from that passing work. They're going to try to grind it as much as they can with Zeke. I think he gets at least 80 yards and a touchdown this week on the ground.
So you're starting Dak, you're starting Zeke, you're starting Cooper, Lamb, Gallup.
You're firing them all up.
You're firing them all up, right? You're starting Schultz too. You're firing up everybody on the Cowboys.
Everybody on the Cowboys
Giants side of the ball. That's where it gets a little. Who are you starting? Are you starting Daniel Jones, or are you pivoting into somebody else? You're definitely starting Ingram. I know Juan. You said.
Well, you have to. Ingram is third in the league in targets to the tight end, so you have to start him because the opportunity alone. But everybody that's played Dallas has had success fantasy wise. Like everybody's lit them up. So you can't not start Slayton, the number one wide receiver. You can't not. You have to leave him in. And in DFS, I'm starting Daniel Jones. If you have a better option in redraft or in your regular league, then go for it because he hasn't proven it. He's
got to lower the turnovers. He has, right? And I'm wearing his jersey, man. I'm wearing the Danny Dimes jersey, but he's got to lower the turnovers. And in this game, he might be able to.
This is the defense. If you're going to target him, if he doesn't do it this week, another example of if you don't do it this week, like you got to prove it this week, dude. Like they against the Dallas defense, they should be able to put out 20+ points and be competitive. And
this is supposed to be the week where the Giants' schedule starts to turn around. It's a shame that Saquon. It's a real shame that he wasn't able to make it. But this is the week when you drafted Daniel Jones. If you drafted him early, you didn't draft him for the first 4 games of the season. You drafted him for the 5th on. So this is where it starts. It's against a really banged up Cowboys defense that just keeps getting lit up. I think I could see it being close. I could see it hitting the over, honestly, just because of the constant back and forth. This is going to be an interesting to watch, but I think the Cowboys take the W in this.
I think the Cowboys win, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer. The Giants defense is a little better than everybody expects.
Here it comes.
But I think it's 31-24. I think it's
31-24.
Something like that. Yeah, at least, Chef. So I'm taking the over on that one. Something
along what's the over under? 54?
54.
54.
Oh, 27-24. 51 points.
Yeah. Oh.
You taking the under?
That close, then that low.
Yeah.
I just don't see how Dallas doesn't give up 30 points to everybody. I really don't.
Well, that's because the Giants' offense is a little shaky still. I think they turn over a couple times.
Right before
we got to account for at least one interception by Daniel Jones per week or one fumble. Like it's almost erroneous at this point.
Chef, real quick, Jordan Aiken's ankle concussion is inactive. So your question about Fells being in earlier, Fells is
good call.
Crap, that hurts me.
What's up, Swan Cody, my man, Lamar or Teddy Bridgewater? Nice. This is what I was talking about, boys. This is what I was saying earlier.
You share the league with him? Is that what's going
on?
Cody.
No. This is Cody drafted this team. So this is what I'm saying. I think it's a hot take. We said it earlier, right when we kicked off the show, that I think Teddy Bridgewater finishes with more fantasy points than Lamar Jackson. However, I did say this before. I mean, look, we knew Lamar and Hollywood were playing anyway, despite the injury designation. But like I said, Lamar on the ground with the knee could be limited. Not going to get what you would normally expect from his fantasy production. Teddy B with the matchup. I don't know.
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. You wanted to say it earlier.
That's it.
Now, after listening to us, you don't want to do it.
Teddy Bridgewater finishes with more fantasy points than Lamar Jackson this week. I'm writing it down. It's right here.
Wow.
All right.
I love this take. Listen, I can see the script happening where it happened. Mr. Swanson, we spoke on it a little bit earlier, Chef, while you were out, and we felt like maybe in the third quarter the game's out of hand, they're in control, and they're just running the ball, and it's RG3 time. If they get up big and they can sit Lamar because of the injury concerns, that's the only way I can see it going down that path. But otherwise, I think Lamar can have a really big game, especially throwing the ball deep to Marquise Hollywood Brown. Like I just feel like it could be a blow-up game that way.
I can see it happening. Listen, I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility, but that's Teddy my hot take for the week.
And Teddy B's going to have to put up numbers. If he's going to want to have a chance against Atlanta, he's going to have to put up numbers. So,
all right, so anybody up against Atlanta's defense. Thank you, Cody, for the question.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so we're going Lamar on. I'm going Lamar on that one.
Everyone's going Lamar.
Okay, so we made it to the 8:00 game. Vikings versus Seahawks. We have 10 minutes left.
No, we skipped over one real quick. We skipped over Colts Browns.
We skipped over Colts and Browns, which is a great game and it's even, but we talked about it enough earlier with all the T.Y. Hilton questions and all that stuff going on. So we can kind of touch on that one quick and then go to the 8:00 game, Chef. Sure. And this game is even, and it's even for a reason. It's even, the Colts should be favored because they're supposed to be the better team right now. But with the injuries that they've had and they're on the road in Cleveland, they're making this thing an even line, 47 over under. So low scoring type of affair. I expect it to go down that way. I'm tempering my expectations on the pass catchers from Indianapolis. And like we said earlier, Chef, with the dump downs to Nyheim Hines, like that's something to look at. And that's the only way that Phillip Rivers is going to be efficient, especially with Mo Alley Cox too. So I don't know who I'm taking in this game just yet, but I understand the reason that Vegas made it even.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts. I'm taking the Colts to win. It's going to be a grinder game. It's probably not going to be a fun game to watch unless you like those defensive battles. We may get a surprise Odell Beckham pass. I mean, he's the only. I think Beckham and Landry are the only two you'd really play, along with Kareem Hunt. You're not trusting Dearness Johnson against that Indianapolis defense, and that's one of the main reasons why I stayed away from him on the waiver wire. Just because I know his matchups are tough. Jonathan Taylor, you're obviously playing him. Naeem Hines could be a good flex option this week just because of the dump down passes. And then Ty, man, Cleveland gives up points. They are 30th against the pass, but it's just a matter of how much is Phillip Rivers going to throw the ball. That's why I led with Mo Alley Cox having a good game because, Cleveland's 28th against the tight end, giving up 12.9 fantasy points a game. Who does he throw to? He throws to one wide receiver and one tight end and then the running backs. Yeah. So if anybody's going to have a good game in this matchup, and Cleveland can give up the points. So yeah, I'm trusting my perimeter wide receiver in Odell Beckham to at least get the targets. Whether or not he does something with them is another thing. I think Baker Mayfield could wind up having a bad day, and this defense could just crush his soul.
Yeah, it could go that way, Chef. I'm a little worried for Phillip Rivers with the left tackle Costanzo out and Myles Garrett coming in and then taking over and dominating like he did last week against Dallas, which has a good offensive line as well. So I think I'm going to go with the Browns, Chef. I think the Browns have a little bit of moxie and a little bit of mojo going, and I think the Browns find a way to pull this game out. No, Darius Leonard is bigger than people think for the Colts as their middle linebacker. You know what I mean? It's the quarterback of the defense, and I think I'm going to go with the Browns. I think they find a way to win a game.
Nice. I'm taking the Colts.
This one's easy because it's even. There's no over, under, nothing. It's just who wins.
Yeah, no.
I'm staying away from this game.
Yeah, I did not bet on this one. I not bet on my parlay.
Mm-hmm. Too tough to call.
My heart says Colts. Right. My brain says Browns. So let's move on.
So now we are on to the
8:20
game.
Vikings at Seahawks.
Man, this is the game of the week.
12th man.
Seahawks
are favored by 7. Over unders at 57. Yeah, this is gonna be a.
Start everybody in this game. If you have a player in this game, get them in your lineup. Don't second guess yourself. You're putting in. You're starting on the Seahawks side of the ball. You're starting Russ, obviously, and he should do pretty well up against that Minnesota defense. Chris Carson, you're definitely playing him. Tyler and DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf smash plays. Minnesota crappy against the wide receiver. And the only one I'm not playing is Greg Olsen, man. Rest in peace, Greg Olsen.
Yeah, I got to leave him alone until he shows more, but I don't think he's going to be too relevant. Those are the perfect guys to start, Chef, on the Seattle side. And on the Minnesota side, you're starting everybody too. Jefferson, Thielen, Cook, and even Cousins, who, like I said earlier, averages 260 yards a game. But against Seattle, everyone's averaging 400. So you got to figure he's going to close that gap and finally have a nice little 300-yard game. It could be a really big Dalvin Cook game, and the game could go lower scoring than we expect because he's been eaten this year, and he's amazing.
If he gets the passing work, I think Dalvin Cook could do it. But they've been stingy against the running backs. We saw Zeke not do great only because he fell in the end zone. And who did Seattle play last week?
But Chef, it's too easy though. When you're talking about Seattle, they played the Dolphins last week, and Fitzpatrick had 315 yards passing. So like that was the best game they've had against the pass, and it was 315. They're just a sieve. So if you can just launch the ball down the field and go out there and bing bang boom down, get down to the end zone and score, you're not going to take your time and just run the ball and pound it. That's why they look like they're stingy against the run, but it's 1,600 yards allowed in 4 games. Like they're putting up the Dak numbers that are amazing, and he's on pace for 6,000 yards. They're on pace to allow 6,000 yards. Like that's a really bad defense.
With that being said, who's the better streamer this week, Teddy B or Kirk Cousins?
See,
they were both on our waiver wire heroes sheet, weren't they?
Yep. And I'll take Kirk Cousins.
I would take Cousins.
Yep.
They were. Look at that.
They both are.
Yeah.
I'm staying with Bridgewater.
I'm probably wrong. Both are great. Both are great.
Both are really good streaming options. But Seattle wins that game, Chef, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than everybody thinks. I think it's going to be one of those that comes down to the wire, and we're in for a full day of football, man. We're in for a full 12 hours of relevant football. That game will be over around midnight. We're going to have a great, great, great day, and that should be the finale.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks to win it.
Yeah, but close, right?
Yeah, it's going to be close, though. What was the over-under?
57. I say over.
57. Yeah, it's under.
And what was the point spread? I'm sorry.
7. Seattle by 7.
Oh. I think it's closer than that. I would take Minnesota with the points then, and then take the over. Yeah, I don't think
Over?
Seahawks win by a touchdown.
You think this gets in the 30s, don't you, Chef?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it goes back and forth enough.
It's hard to keep Russ out of the 30s, man.
The way he's been cooking, man. Hey, a chef appreciates a cook, man, and he's cooking it all day long, cuz.
I like that. You got Dalvin Cook and Russ cooking for the chef. I like it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I like it. I like it.
I like it.
He's definitely getting promoted in my kitchen, that's for sure.
Where the F and S is that matchup?
We have a late question
here.
Oh, I'm sorry. What we got?
I got it. Half point PPR. Pick one, Big Ben, Minshew, or Fitz. Also pick one Rams or Colts defense.
Big Ben against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Ben against the Eagles and
the Rams against Kyle Allen. I like that matchup. But the Colts defense is the Colts defense. And now, you know what? I think I go Rams.
I think I do too.
Yeah.
I love my Colts defense, but
that muddy game, Jalen Ramsey sticking McLaurin, Aaron Donald. Yeah, I think I go Rams.
Me too.
And Big Ben against that Eagles secondary, I think should be a big one. Like the
I like Big Ben. I like Big Ben in that game, and then the Rams are going to be doing all right. I think they're going to stick Washington pretty well. Yeah. So I agree. I agree with both of you. Good stuff.
Good stuff. All right.
Yeah, one guy asked a question about the cover. There's a lot of games that are wide open, and we talked about this earlier, Chef, and a lot of them feel like they should be closer. Like I feel like the Dolphins shouldn't be 9-point underdogs. I feel like that game in Baltimore, it's an interdivisional game, and they will probably cover, but I don't like 12 points. It's a lot against Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's been playing pretty well. We all like the Giants to put up a fight against the Cowboys and not get blown out. Mr. Swanson thinks the Eagles are going to play that game a little closer, and the defense is going to keep them in it.
I think the Eagles cover the spread, and I think the Giants cover the spread as well.
I wouldn't touch the Jets game, and then Cincinnati. Again, it's 12 points is a lot. The offense has been looking good, and even at the end of the game, when they're down by 14, Burrow drives them back and makes the game close, and it looks a lot closer than what it was. I don't see them losing by 12 either. So that's a sneaky big spread game that could be covered.
I like that as well. Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you, Wine Guy.
Thank you, Wine Guy. We're going to get out of here where there's a lot of stuff for us to do. We have our own lineups to adjust, all these start-sits going on throughout the league. Everybody that's listening, thank you so much for tuning in.
A lot of new listeners. This is awesome.
Active session yet.
Live
show. I'm sorry.
We had a really good one on Monday. We had, or was it Thursday?
Wednesday. Wednesday was very nice. And
that's right. Our regular show. Yeah.
Join in whenever you see us going live. We put out a post about 10 minutes before so on Facebook. And then we also tweet it out on Twitter and YouTube. Check us out, man. Check out the website, thetiltisreal.com. We're always putting up fun stuff up there. You can find our waiver wire heroes sheet that we work on every week for you guys going into Tuesday. It should be up no later than Tuesday afternoon for you guys. Even though there is a game this week, I want to get it up for you guys for next week because it's going to be killer, man.
It's really important right now. The waiver wire heroes is clutch, and the chef spends a lot of time getting those lineups ready. And Mr. Swanson came up with the idea. Now we add names to it every week and take names away and keep it relevant for this week. Great options for you to have, like Zacchaeus or Kirk Cousins or Teddy Bridgewater outscoring Lamar Jackson this week. Like Mr. Swanson.
I love it.
It's going to be hot, man. We're going to see. We're going to either laugh at me. We're going to laugh at each other. It's going to be a good day. You guys enjoy your Sunday. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Good luck.
We appreciate it. Good luck today. Keep tilting.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Tilts is Real Fantasy Podcast. Check out our website at thetiltisreal.com for weekly articles, breakdowns, and more. Follow us on Twitter at TIR_pod. We'll see you Tilters next week.